think the team has responded since the Purdue game, and what do you expect to see on Saturday?
I feel like our main focus was to improve on the mistakes that we had. So red zone offense, our run game. That's specifically talking about the offense. But our focus was really can't really dwell on the past. But I feel like we really took the bull by the horns and trying to hone in on the mistakes that we have and our points of emphasis. So we're hoping to see improvement on Saturday.
What is tangibly different about the run game as a result of having the off week?
That's kind of tough, but I feel like just they're always trying to find more ways. Our coaches trying to find more ways that we could account for that extra guy in the box. There's always been an extra guy in the box, even when JT was playing, but it's just a matter of how can we block it with an extra tight end or another lineman in there or a receiver cracking them. It's just a matter of how we can account for all those bodies in the box.
Did you volunteer to crack them?
If they had me, I don't think I'm doing much cracking this week, but shoot, you never know.
Did you put on a clinic anyway? No.
Nah, not yet.
How does Austin's injury affect you?
That's a ripple effect through the whole Zone 6 because we're used to rotating 2 at each position, and now somebody has to move over or somebody has to take more reps. But, when you come in at wide receiver, you should know all the positions. So I feel like that's a benefit of the way we teach our offense at the wide receiver position.
So Urban had said that maybe you and Paris will help out at that position. So on Saturday, would you expect, sometimes I'll be at Z, sometimes I'll be at X, I'll just do whatever they need me to do?
Definitely. I've always prided myself on knowing the entire offense. Even towards the tail end of Purdue when Austin couldn't play, I was playing X. So I'm comfortable at that position as well, and I know I'm going to get a lot of reps at that. But if they need me to come over at Z, then I'll be able to do that too.
You feel Olave, however you pronounce it, just call him for the rotation, right? But, I mean, do you feel he's ready to play? Urban Meyer indicated he was. What tells you he is?
I feel like he's been ready, to be honest, since he stepped on campus and performed the way he did in camp. Coach Meyer didn't really get to see that, so that was different. Coach Meyer kind of had to get acclimated the way if he was a tough guy and could he make plays on a consistent basis when he got back. But as far as, Coach Day and Coach Hartline and the other receivers, we've always had confidence in Chris. It's just a matter of him. Now it's time for him to execute. He's ready for this moment. Otherwise, we wouldn't put him in the situation. So I'm excited to see him go on Saturday.
I don't mean to be facetious, but, you guys have been trying to get the running game going for a couple of 3 games now. What is it that tells you y'all have hit on something in the last 2 weeks?
We've been doing a lot of physicality up front. I mean, this was the first day that we really weren't in pads. So there's been more of an emphasis on just the physicality of the run game. Offensive line just blowing guys off the ball, running backs running behind their pads and just finishing runs. I remember after the Purdue game, we showed a lot of clips of what has been working and what hasn't been working recently. And just the physicality, I feel like is going to be a big difference.
Do you sense that the line is pissed? They're just going to have a different mentality?
I anticipate that. I mean, to be honest, if I was in that situation and hearing that over and over and over again, I'd be pretty pissed. But I have confidence that they're going to come out and perform really well.
Yeah, piggybacking off of what Bill just said, Isaiah specifically said yesterday he was pissed.
Yeah.
He's feeling it. What's his demeanor been like, kind of, in the last couple of weeks since that Purdue game?
Well, he spoke those words that he did in the locker room, so it's easy everybody could speak and say we got to do this, we got to do that. But if you're going to be a leader and almost you got to back up your talk, so he leads that offensive line, and I wouldn't expect anything less than him coming out and having a great game, and then him influence the line to play with that tenacity.
Have you seen a different mentality from everyone on the team since that Purdue loss?
Yeah, definitely. There's more of a there's always a sense of urgency, but if we want to still get to where we want to get to, we can't lose any more games. So that's a big emphasis in our part, and just like I said, focusing on what we can improve on, mistakes and red zone offense and the run game. That's been the biggest 2 emphases these last couple of weeks.
Terry, do you think the adjustments that you guys have made since Purdue, do you think that there's something that the average fan watching you guys at the shoe Saturday will notice, oh wow, that's different, or is it more subtle than that?
I think it's probably more subtle than that. I don't think we'll be doing any new plays or reverses and things like that. I just think people will see just more sense of urgency in the run game, in the sense of guys are really getting after finishing their blocks, finishing their runs, and just really trying to get our run game off the ground.
Do you guys
Pun
count the
intended.
bubble and tunnel, things like that, in the run stats?
Yeah.
I mean, how have y'all done in that regard from your vantage point? I haven't figured it out, but I mean, if from your vantage point, has it been pretty effective? Obviously, it
Definitely.
appears to have been.
Well, we run a lot of RPOs, so we may have a run call, but Dwayne may see this particular read and throw the bubble or throw a slant behind it. It just all depends on what the defense is giving us. But the bubble has been a big emphasis on our offense because it helps us stretch the field horizontally, and that allows us to then pound it up the middle and go over the top with deep shots. But defense are starting to set an edge, playing mini, or we call it sauce, where they're putting 2x2, just putting a guy outside of that number 2 to try to take that away from us. So we still have confidence in blocking that. We have ways to get around that and counter that, but I feel like bubble is still going to be a big part of our offense.
How much have you guys talked about Nebraska's defense and the big plays they've given up this year?
To be honest, we haven't really focused on that aspect of it. I think this week we're going to get a lot more press. I feel like defensively they trust their corners to come up and press and play some man coverage. So we haven't seen man coverage in a while, to be honest. So we've really been focusing on that as wide receivers. And but if they give us the look that we've been focusing on in practice, we just got to execute. I feel like that's the biggest difference that we need to do from the Purdue game. We had our chances, but we didn't execute.
Are you looking forward to the press?
Yeah, I love it, actually, especially now that I'm playing X. You're really singled up backside, so you have an opportunity to beat your man, and there's not a lot of people left on that side of the ball.
Terry, what have you
Last
seen
question.
from Jalen Harris, and do you think he's a guy who can still help you this year at that X spot?
Oh, definitely. I'm always on Jalen to be ready. I've been here for a while, so I've had a lot of little brothers in the Big Brother program, and he's one of them. But he's really been coming on. His biggest thing is just trying to stay consistent. He struggles with some fatigue sometimes, where he just have a great play and then he'll be tired. But he's really came on this week in practice, and I feel like in the bye week, that's a big week for development of younger players, and he took a big step last week.
Following up on that, has Ben Victor, has there been anything different about him now that he's got to be the guy? What have you noticed different about him maybe in the last 2 weeks?
Well, I like coming over to X because I could really, me and Ben have a really good relationship, so I'm really tough on him in the way that I try to be that extra coach. But he's taking the initiative to try to just be that guy where he's 6'4", he has to play like that. You can't just do it in practice. He made a great play today, but I'm always telling him, the ball's not going to always be perfect. Our job is to make the quarterback right. And, so if you're 6'4", you got to play like it. And I'm excited to see him get a lot more plays this week.
So if you're more X, who's also Z with Johnny?
So I'll really play X and Z, but if Johnny's in, then Chris will rotate with him, and I'll rotate with Ben, or Jalen Harris may get some reps at X, just depending on how Coach Hartline wants to rotate and keep us fresh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
No problem.
Is
Appreciate
Isaiah
it.
Prince the biggest sore loser on the team?
He might be.
He says
might
he
be.
is.
He might be.
He's such a sore loser,
Yeah.
he can't be told that he's not the sorest loser because
Yeah.
he's got to win at that.
Yeah, he might be.
Okay.
You guys have a good one.